Hello, Internet. Welcome to the Noclip Podcast. This is episode 184. This is the Crewcast. I swear I'll get it right one day. I swear. It's in my head. It's been that way for years now. I can't adjust. But we're still here, and we're still in your ears. We are Danny-less this week. He is out on the East Coast, I believe, of America, on his road trip that is a workcation. Busy guy with his family and work. But we're still here, gracing your ears, and I'm joined by the jovial Jeremy Jane. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm actually feeling a little under the weather, but I'm in very good spirits, and I'm extremely excited about the game that I brought to talk about this week. So just disregard. I shouldn't have even said it. I'm actually fine. Never mind. I erased that from the tape.
He's doing great. The sickness has been removed by a game with the name of a certain celestial body. Frank Howley, what's your favorite celestial body?
I guess Earth. Does that count? Because we are in the universe.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Earth. I like it.
Yeah,
it's a hot take.
It keeps us alive. I feel like most people on Earth probably agree. I figured you'd go for a Sailor Moon joke there, though. Sailor Jupiter or something.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a favorite sailor from the Sailor Moon series?
I did just get a bunch of Sailor Moon socks. So I got a pack of 5 Sailor Moon socks, and each one has the different girls on them in like a chibi art style. I think it's Sailor Mercury is the one I really like. I just don't know all their names. It's Sailor Mercury is the cute short blue hair. Sailor Jupiter is the green one. It's Sailor Mars because she's the purple aesthetic one. So I like Sailor Mars.
I loved Sailor Moon as a kid, and I thought it was for girls, and I was so embarrassed. So I would watch it, and I would like look around, and I would turn the volume way down. So like I was like, no one in my family would have cared, but I was like, I'm not supposed to be watching this, but I love it. Oh shit.
Yeah, that's all anime, I feel like, when you're growing up. It's 50-50. Every time you're watching it, cool stuff's happening, characters are fighting, people are having conversations, and your mom walks in and characters are naked all of a sudden. You're like, what happened? This isn't embarrassing. It's cool.
Goku takes his little dick out, and you're like, I swear to God, this is culture. Can
you walk out right now, please? It's okay. It's normal. It's Japanese. It's fine. No, but yeah, that makes sense. That's good that you have 5 pairs of socks. You've got one sailor you can put on your feet for every work day of the week.
That's
which
amazing.
is great.
Yeah.
I wonder what socks our Battle Pass holders are wearing during the work week. I hope they'll email in and let us know. That beautiful list, by the way, is Eamon Slattery, Harry Flanagan, Battle Royale Games, Arno, Richard Matherson, James Brown, Mark Rojas, Ryan Cobb. Ryan Cobb wears Sailor Moon socks. They actually already told me. Tucker Morgan, Crimson Cyclist, Sven Huster, Pez, Int Nate, Tim Robinson, Forrest Pruitt, Jonathan Kremen, Eric Hamilton Schneider, Cameron, Zachary Snader, Alex Sharp, Alex Goucher, thank you, George Sarkotis, Jacob Godserve, Tohir Tiliev, and Ryson. That list is getting so long. Thank you all so much for all of your support and everyone who supports us at patreon.com/noclip. If you're not already doing that, you can support this 100% ad-free podcast, fund our documentaries, help us make cool videos, buy us all cool branded socks and t-shirts with peaches and oranges on them, and help us pay for our weddings. They're expensive even when they're cheap. So thank you so much for all your support. And if you'd like to join that group, like I said, you can go to patreon.com/noclip to do so. Get all your bonuses, including a nice warm, fuzzy feeling deep in the cockles of your heart. Speaking of the cockles of your heart, Dead or Alive Xtreme 3, Frank Howley. I'm excited to talk about video games this week, but this one in particular, I need to know why you're playing this, and I imagine it has something to do with you being at Anime Expo last week.
Yeah, so I never thought, I knew the day would come one day, but I always like waiting for deals. So Anime Expo 2024 was this past weekend, and I am surprised. I think it was the best Anime Expo it's ever been. The Anime Expo has been notorious throughout the con scene over the last several years of being overcrowded, extremely hot, poorly managed. Just like it's one of the biggest anime conventions in the country, everyone goes, but like line management security is always a mess. That it's kind of miserable. Once you're in, it's fine, but a lot of times you have to wait 3 hours in the sun. It's always like chaotic. I think what I heard is they got heavily fined by the city last year, so they got their stuff together. And I was surprised because I parked my car within 10 minutes. I was in the convention center, like in the actual convention, whereas years before it would take hours. And every year I would have to literally like sneak in, cut the line. I'm sorry, but I would have to do what I could to get in, or borrow an exhibitor badge to get in, because it was horrible being outside. This time it was phenomenal. It was so much fun, and I got to shoot a bunch of footage. I got to cover the Yakuza Essence of Fandom panel, or their party. There's a giant party dedicated to the Yakuza series that was so cool. There was the voice actor of Ichiban there, the new producer of the series. I got to see Peach Milky at the convention, the body model of Ashley in Resident Evil 4, one of the the people you could chat with on Infinite Wealth, Meg 64, usual gang, everything. But every time I go to Anime Expo, I always like buy lots of stuff. But because I was just in Akihabara a few months ago, it's like, oh, I came back with like suitcases full of like otaku crap. So I was kind of like, I didn't really buy that much stuff at Anime Expo this year. I got a Hamtaro shirt, I got a Nana shirt, and a few art prints. But other than that, I didn't buy any figures. I was kind of okay. And then I saw that PlayAsia had a booth. PlayAsia is one of those like import sites that sells, games, like, imported goods from Japan. And they had Dead or Alive Xtreme 3 there. And years ago when this came out, like in 2016, like the whole thing with it is DOA Extreme 1 was on Xbox, DOA Extreme 2 was on 360. DOA Extreme 3 was not carried in the United States. It was not sold in the US, not even on digital storefronts. But PlayAsia had it. When the game launched back in 2016, they were selling it for like $90. And like every time I would like check import stores, it's always like 90 or above. They had it for $60. So I was like, all right, okay, I'll treat myself. So I got Dead or Alive Extreme 3. And again, it's so funny where it's like, I feel like, I don't know, it's because the game was banned in the US, it felt like there was such a taboo in playing it. But even then, in the years past, I've always tried playing Dead or Alive Extreme 1 and 2. And so for context, Dead or Alive is the fighting game series by Team Ninja. I love all those games. Dead or Alive Extreme 1 and 2, they're called sports video games, but they're essentially like, I don't know, they're like, I would even call them like bikini dating sims, because there's like dating sims. This is so much more just like, okay, it's very much like, the whole game is everyone's in bikinis, and the point is like to unlock more lewd bikinis as you progress through like the missions and all the activities. And
this is a fighting game, right? This isn't the beach volleyball.
There is no fighting.
No?
There is zero fighting in this game. Well,
hold on, wait, what is this then?
Dead or Alive Extreme 3 is, okay, the premise of the game is Zach has an island, and I don't know why, but he only invites...
Zach?
Yeah, who's Zach? Let's back up.
Zach is one of the dudes in Dead or Alive, and he has an island, and he invites only the girls to his island. I'm sorry, none of the guys from Dead or Alive are invited. It's kind of, it's whatever, But hey, somehow I got an invite to the island. So in the game,
wait, do you play as Zach? I need to know this. Are you Zach?
Zach is the guy kind of like telling you. He's like the tutorial. He's like the Otis from Dead Rising, like teaching you how to play the game. So you get missions from Zach. But Zach is still on the island. Like, it's kind of weird. I'll get into it. So the premise of the game is, at the start, it's called vacation mode, and you have 14 days. You can pick any of the Dead or Alive girls to be your like main girl, your company on the island. And by the end of the 14 days, you're trying to get their affection. It's like Tokimeki Memorial. You're trying to get their affection meter up. And if you get their affection meter high up enough, you can gift them certain bikinis or outfits or things like that. And you can unlock cutscenes and stuff. In order to higher their affection rating, there's different missions. And so you can play the game either in girl mode or in owner mode. Girl mode it's literally called girl mode. Girl mode is where you're playing as the girl. Owner mode is where you're playing as like Zach or like Zach's henchman, whatever the thing is.
He has henchmen?
I don't know. It's the way this game.
Hold on, this is getting more nefarious.
Is this like the island of Dr. No? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, everything seems cheery, but that's why I gotta keep playing this game and figure it out. So I've already done 2 vacation cycles. I did a vacation cycle as Honoka. I did a vacation cycle as Marie Rose. I'm currently doing a vacation cycle as Neo Tengu, who is like a demon that is 1,018 years old. When she arrives to the island, her wings melt off, and she's like, "Oh, I'm no longer a demon. I guess I'll enjoy the vacation as a human." And then she goes swimming. There's There's like 5 activities in the game. There is beach volleyball, and I'm surprised. The beach volleyball is hard. There's actually, you have to spike it, feint it. There's all this stuff you have to do. You have teammates with it. You'll get different missions, like win a beach volleyball game with your partner, win a beach volleyball game against a normal CPU, easy CPU, etc. And that's kind of like the core game of it. But there's other modes that's funny. There is butt battle, in which you're on and like
Sure.
you go to the pool and you're on like a I don't know, a raised platform, and you have to bounce butts to each other and knock someone off. There's a rock
What?
climbing.
No, I thought you were joking.
No,
wait. So like it's actually like your
called
butt
battle.
bumping.
Yeah,
Butt battle. Okay.
You're butt bumping. And then there's also tug of war, in which you're doing tug of war, and if someone pulls in, the girl falls in the pool. There's rock climbing mode, which is kind of a rhythm game. There's also like it's like MXC, where it's called like pool hopping, in which you have to jump on platforms, and the platforms are like X, circle, square, R1, things like that. There's like a game where you're like doing capture the flag, where you're running on the beach and you have to dive and grab one of the flags. So
and this is all they're wearing bikinis while doing this.
Yeah. And the game advertises like it has Soft Engine 2.0.
Shut up. Is that what it's called?
It's called Soft Engine 2.0, and on the back it says shaking butts and wiggling legs, wet skin, suntan, and the loose bikini. So
no.
Yeah.
I don't think of myself as like a shy, bashful, or prude person, but the sensation I'm getting when you talk about the butt battle and the physics engine here is the feeling that you get when, like, if you get too high and you go into a convenience store and you don't want to make eye contact with the cashier. That is the sensation I'm experiencing being in front of a camera and hearing butt battle. This game is fucking insane.
I think it's underrated. I think it's great. I think it's a shame that you can't, like, I don't know. I don't know why it's not sold in stores. It does.
It should
not
be on
have
every
any,
store shelf. It should be everywhere.
It doesn't have any rating on it. So, but
it doesn't.
No, there's
How
no.
does that work?
The ESRB doesn't exist in Japan. I mean, there's
but there's a Japanese rating board, isn't there?
So that's a good point. So there is a Japanese version of it. This is like an international version. So like,
okay.
Yeah. So maybe it's like in the open waters where there's no laws in the seas or whatever. I don't know. This
does seem like the kind of game that you play on a yacht in the middle of the ocean, so no one can
have to go 40 miles out on a boat to play this game.
Yeah. So
this sounds bizarre,
and I'm
man.
proud because like I had to like ask my friends for help. I had to look up GameFAQs guys how to play this because I've tried playing Extreme 1 and Extreme 2 and like I never understood the dating game mechanic stuff. But having played like Persona, having watched Tim Rogers like Tokimeki 8-hour essay on it, I like know how these games work now. Like if you try to buy the Ludus bikini, the girl's not going to put it on. You got to increase their affection rating. And how do you increase their affection rating? You got to go to the casino. So in the game,
of course,
you can play poker, blackjack, things like that. And I started playing poker, and because I put like a dozen hours into Balatro, I finally knew how to play poker. It's so cool, and all the cards are based on the different girls. So it's like, I think the best version of poker exists in Dead or Alive Extreme 3. It's in like the other girls aren't actually sitting at the tables; they have their avatars, but you're playing against the other girls, and yeah, it's just like Balatro. There's no like the Joker modifiers, but 1 pair, 2 pair, royal flush, full house, all that. Like, so I don't know. I really
pair of cards. Or?
Yeah. So I don't know. I really like Dead or Alive Extreme 3, and what I like about it too is there's trophies, and you can like there's a trophy for winning 10 butt battles, winning 10 volleyball games, unlocking 20 swimsuits for Marie Rose, and things like that. So.
How are you doing this with a straight face? How are you doing this with a straight face?
You
get 10 trophy for 10 butt battles.
I've been waiting so long to play this game, and it's nice to find. Like I worked my way up. Like a month ago, I played Dead or Alive 5, got all the trophies. A month ago, I played Dead or Alive 6, got the trophies. This is the next game in the Dead or Alive series until they make a new one, if they do. But by me talking about it, it's manifesting a new Dead or Alive. Hopefully.
You heard it here first, folks. Insider information from Frank Howley. We are getting a new Dead or Alive 7. Coming soon.
I hope so. These games are always fun, and so yeah, Dead or Alive Extreme 3 again. I was very confused by all the dating sim mechanic stuff, but after spending some time acclimating to it, I understand how the game works, and I want to keep playing it and unlocking more Easter eggs and things like that. And as you play, you unlock your owner level gets higher, and then you can buy more things from the Zach shop and the sports shop and all these random things like that.
Now here's my question: Does owner mode refer to? Are you
That's
the
a good
owner of
question.
these women?
That's
or
That's a
are
good question.
That's a good question because it's like it's Zach is in the icon. I think it means like owner of the islands, like you're playing as Zach, but it is very
seems a little
'cause
less
you're
unsavory.
You're swapping between owner mode and girl mode, but
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's cute though because it's. Yeah, the last details. If you can do beach volleyball as girl mode, you're playing. If you do beach volleyball in owner mode, it's take photos of the girls playing volleyball. But it's cool because you can adjust your f-stop. You can adjust like the aperture. Like it's really in
You
depth.
get really artsy with it.
It's kind of cool.
This is like it's kind of like the Umurangi generation
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
TVs.
of women on an island
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you watch in
That's
owner mode.
okay. I do have one last question.
Yeah.
Is there like a story in this game, or is it more like a Mario Party?
There is
kinda
like a
situation?
cutscene up top, and I always skip the cutscene because it's like Zach is sitting there, and I think like the old Zach Island blew up, or I think it's like Dead or Alive in the previous tournament, the island blew up, and so Zach is saying all the girls of Dead or Alive come seek refuge on my island, and then that's it, and then no, the story is just the girls are taking a vacation from fighting, they're becoming friends, but you can pair up with different girls, different partners. If you mess up in volleyball too many times, your partner will call you a sussy baka and then want to break up with you. No, there's a cut. Yeah, seriously. If you mess up in volleyball, your partner will be like, "Oh, what a buffoon!" Or like Mary Rose will bounce up and down, yelling "baka baka baka." It's awesome. It's awesome.
I'm so curious about Zach. I feel like
Yeah.
Zach, his role in this is all very mysterious
Yeah,
to me because he's like, is he the best wingman ever, or is he like, is he like a voyeur, whatever, however you say it? Like, does he
Yeah,
get off on watching you flirt with all the women?
That's kind of what the game feels like, but I'm not going to judge. But at the end of the night, after every activity, the girls just go back to their bedroom and just lie down on the bed, and then there'll be like a knock at the door, and it's like Zach has given Hanako a present, and you open the present and it's swimsuits, or it can be like
of course.
like a manga novel, it can be a guitar, a recorder, like you just all these random gifts, and just like in Persona or whatever, different girls have different preferences for gifts. So like I forget, like Marie Rose likes pizza or Hanukkah likes grapes or whatever. It's and I'm not doing the work of figuring this out. I'm just typing up game facts and finding threads left 8 years ago by other researchers and just double checking the work.
If only it was so easy in real life to just, what are they into? Let me check the game facts
you're
on
like,
this
what is
girl.
let me look at my girlfriend on
Google it
game
real
facts real quick.
Yeah.
Oh
It'll
yeah,
make
she
things a lot
loves
easier.
jewelry. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God
Oh.
for game facts. And it's got the
Flowers?
it's got ASCII art at the top of your girlfriend's face.
man.
It's like
That's a Black Mirror episode for sure. Well, there you go. Dead or Alive Extreme 3. Check it out at your local anime convention.
Yes.
Pick it up for probably too much money. Speaking of the anime convention, by the way, you mentioned that Mega 64 was there for the Yakuza event. I saw Rocco went as
Ichiban, yeah,
Ichiban, right?
So the karaoke event, and like I shot a lot of videos. So my goal is to hopefully make a crew video of everything. There was several guests. Hikaru Shida of AEW, TJPW, like a Joshi wrestler, was there performing.
that's
Also
awesome.
did karaoke. She was also cosplaying as Ichiban. The host was Vampy Bit Me, another big cosplayer. And then like the voice actor of Ichiban was there, and he speaks, and it's Ichiban. Even his attitude, he's so silly and goofy, and like. It was really, really cool. Sega went all out. One thing that was really cool is like at the party, there was a giant wall of like all the Yakuza games, Yakuza 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Judgment, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. And they had sticky notes and it was like, hey, tell us why this is your favorite game and we'll share this with the developers. So on the wall, it was all these beautiful, like sincere messages of like
Aw.
playing as Kiryu
That's
gave
really
me
nice.
confidence and like all these things like that. And it was like, this is so wholesome. Like I was like getting teary-eyed just being there because it's like, I feel like the Yakuza games are so silly, but also sincere, and it's like it's such a powerful emotion. Just being surrounded by like all these cosplayers and people who genuinely loved it, it was like this is really, really cool. And so and then the fact that Hikaru Shida there was very funny because like she was AEW's Women's World Wrestling Champion for like 2 years, and over the last like 6 months she started streaming the Yakuza games and has fallen in love with them. And so Sega invited her out, and for her to be there so stoked for Yakuza, where I'm just like, oh my god, you're a great wrestler. I don't know, it was really cool. So. Yeah, and then they did say that they are already working on the next Yakuza game. I'm assuming Infinite Wealth, whatever it may be. And it's
How do you go past that? Where do you go from Infinite?
so
is there more?
the one thing they kind of talked about is they said like there was like 2 or 3 fun things that they talked about in their like fan Q&A. One was they said that like making a game in Hawaii was their first test of putting a game outside Japan. And now that they've done Hawaii, they feel confident taking it outside of Japan. So it's like, okay, cool. Are we going to go around the world? Where's this going to be? Are we going to America? Are we going somewhere else? Two, they said like they're not afraid to change the genre. They'll change the genre to fit whatever the story is. So like, will it be a party game? I don't know. They didn't say that, but I'm like, I mean, I like the JRPG stuff. Will there be a racing? Will they keep messing with genre? I don't know. Yeah, it was just really, I don't know. It was just generally really, really cool. And like, again, it's funny. Like, I never really go to panels at anime conventions because like most of the time it's like they'll show you like a 2-minute scene of animation and be like, all right, cool, check out our show on Crunchyroll like 6 months from now. And it's like, I could have watched, and they'll be posted to YouTube immediately. But like, yeah, the whole Yakuza thing was really, really special. It was also an event that sold out immediately. So It wasn't like, again, Anime Expo in general this year, they definitely avoided crowds. So that's why I'm coming back like, this was the best convention I've ever been to. I can't wait for next year's Anime Expo. So it was awesome.
That'll be awesome.
Awesome.
That's great, man.
That's great.
I'm glad you had a good time. It sounds rather like it was so much fun. Like the clips I've seen from you, and I think you were hanging out with Jab 50 Yen at the event.
Yeah, my Hobie Jab. That's what I love about Anime Expo is like, because like I live, you know, in SoCal, so it's like for me I just drive up. But I have friends who, and Jab also lives in LA, but like I have friends who fly out from like all over the country to come to this convention. So it's like just walking around the convention, I see so many friends. I'm friends with all these people at Artist Alley, like. I don't know, yeah, Mega 64 exhibits there. Like, they're down from San Diego. Like, I don't know, it's just generally cool just walk around and see people. Or just recognize, like, really niche cosplays. I'm like, holy crap, you're doing this. Like, I don't know. I was also very stoked because, like, you know, 15 years later, I got into Haruhi. And I saw, like, 2 Haruhi cosplayers. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, this was the biggest show, you know, 16 years ago. No one cares anymore. But for me, I'm like, oh, my God, this is amazing. So... it's like that little like flash of like joy, and I guess that whole, you know, otaku or fandom stuff that's like so fun and silly, and it's definitely more concentrated in Anime Expo. Comic-Con is like everything, and it's kind of where it's like so broad none of it matters, whereas Anime Expo is like, oh, this is like a subsection of like nerd culture. So it's all video games, anime. There was random cosplays. I took a picture of like, there was the mask cosplayer, like the Jim Carrey, the mask.
I saw the pictures you took. That was so good.
Freakishly good. It was freakishly good. But I think what it is too is like, there's a lot of like, especially in LA, a lot of cosplayers, people who work on costumes. They're working hard all year for their Comic-Con, you know, reveal. So it's like, I'll just go down to Anime Expo and just, hey, what you smoking? I don't know, whatever. So it was a good time. So yeah, I know. I really like Anime Expo.
ARTY, cause I gotta. Oh man, I love the mask. That's so funny. Well, I am so glad you had a blast, man. It sounds like it was just nonstop fun. I love when you go to conventions too, because like every time you post on social media, you take a picture or whatever. I'm just like vicariously having fun through you. I don't have that kind of fun at conventions. Whenever I go to a big expo, I'm just like anxious with all these people bumping into me. And
it's something like, I feel like the stuff I even talked about like in therapy is like part of the dad grief stuff is like from the age 12, 13, my dad was driving me to Comic-Con. And so like just acclimating me, like being surrounded by crowds and like also finding the fun. My dad also encouraged me like, you don't got to wait in line, just go in. Like just teaching me like, you know, like, just, if you don't have a badge, just go. Like, I don't know. Like I even snuck into TwitchCon one year without a badge. So it's just like, it's I don't know. It's fun. It's just fun going. And I think because I've gone to conventions, I've also worked behind the scenes at conventions, whether through Make 64 or I had a girlfriend who did artist alleys. So I was like, I got to see all elements of it, that it's like, I just know how cons work so well. And it's just very fun. So yeah, that like second or third layer of like, where do I go to conventions? What do I do? How do I have fun? For me, it's like taking a hike, but instead of surrounded by trees, you're surrounded by like too many people. But it's like I will just walk all over constantly because you're always seeing new things, and it's the same thing. Like it's so weird. It's like, yeah, when I was in Japan, it was like one giant anime expo. But no, really, just walking around, like going down different streets, you'll see stuff just going. And I don't know. It's I kind of am the opposite. I don't like going to conventions and making a rigid schedule of like, I'm gonna do this panel at 12 o'clock and at this 12:30 there's this meetup, and I used to do that stuff and it sucks because then you're getting rid of the mystery. You're getting rid of that
like a job.
Search of adventure. Yeah, and like Summer Games Fest, when we covered it for like, yeah, the Noclip crew video, I did do my appointments, but I didn't book every half hour. I was like, no, let me keep this open so I could walk around, find a weird indie game, check it out, try it. Or I could, there's Dan Reichert, let me interview him. I like keeping that area open for adventure. And it's funny because we talk about that on the flip side when we talk about like playing video games, Breath of the Wild, where it's like, all right, we're not going to list every objective on the map. Go figure it out. And so taking that attitude in real life, and like, I feel like I have to push myself because I ride my bicycle all the time, but I keep doing the same path, and I need to like, let me go this other direction. So I don't know. So it's weird that like I learned about life through like being very much like a Hikikomori, a hermit, like learning through life through video games, through conventions, and then still having to get outside that bubble. But I'm 33. I'm working on. I'm close. I'm almost.
I almost feel like I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm making it.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I'm glad that you're here to report on all these funny stories, and it's man, we got to send you to more cons. We need more Frank Con videos. I love watching
100%.
those. Yeah. But to escape the Earthbound, that maybe doesn't work. It kind of does. The Earthbound world of anime, to escape to the stars, or perhaps our local celestial body, the moon. Sounds like Jeremy Jane's been playing a very interesting RPG called Moon. I have heard about this one before from the creator of Undertale as it being an inspiration, but I don't know a damn thing about it. So, Jeremy, please give us the whole rundown on what is Moon Remix RPG.
Yeah, so Moon, this is a game that I heard about. I think it came out in 1997. I'll double check that. In Japan. Yeah, October 16, 1997. And
Wow.
I heard about this game a million years ago, and there's been a variety of...
It only came out like 27 years ago. How'd you pull that off?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it only came out in English 2020, it looks like.
Really?
So it had
Wow.
not been translated. There were like fan translations over the years and stuff, and some people said they were like incomplete or not quite accurate. It's always the risky run with a fan translation is like, I don't know. I think one of the things that Noclip docs have taught me, like filming and interviewing localization people for especially for like Final Fantasy 14, when we talk to Koji Fox, you get a sense that like I always thought of localization because like I speak a tiny bit of German, like a tiny bit of Japanese, a little bit of Spanish, but like I don't have a second language that I speak fluently enough to understand like the nuances in translation and stuff. But like the thing about localization is that it's not just like dry translation. You're not just reading a line and going, okay, this is what this means in English. You also are like infusing it with personality and tone. Sometimes there are references that don't land where like, if a game references like a 1982 Japanese pop star, they're not going to be like, oh yeah, and Americans will just like, they'll just miss out on that joke. Like localization is also packaging it for a totally different cultural context. And so I think one of the things that makes Moon shine so much is that the person who localized it was also Tim Rogers, who I'm a big fan of his writing.
Oh, shit.
So it is like the writing is like saturated with I don't know, if you've engaged with Tim Rogers' writing at all, he has like a very sort of like strong idiosyncratic tone, and there are lines in this where it's like there's a bird you talk to that kind of like is like a tutorialization bird, like you can bring items to it and show them to him and he'll be like, this is what that is, and when you're asking him about the game mechanics, which is I'll explain what this game is in a second. I feel like all of this is lead up to explaining what this game is. But it is an RPG where the health system, or like the stakes, are that you have kind of like a heart meter, and the heart meter depletes as you go go around doing actions. And if it runs out, you pass out. And so the tooltip, just to give you a flavor of the writing of this game, is I tweeted it the other day. It's like, Bubby, if you ain't got love, you'll stop breathing and pass the heck out. And that is just like every line.
That's my favorite Otis Redding lyric.
Yeah, it's a really good song title.
Yeah.
I just feel like every line, like that's just like a tutorial. It's just telling you how the fucking health system works. And I'm like, that's like profound and like beautiful, and it has this kind of like folksy, like Midwestern feel. I don't know. It's just fucking. Some people reply, that tweet got a little outside of its intended audience, and people were like, "This is like Tim Rogers like mangled this game," and it's like, dude, if you don't like, this is a game about love, and if you're like reading this like heartfelt, folksy, hilarious little like. It's just being silly, man. And it's like, if that's not for you, then maybe this game isn't for you. Because
no comedy. I need direct translations of Japanese into English. I've read Google Translate. Okay, none of that's in there.
Exactly. They don't say Bubby. So what Moon is I would describe it, and I have seen people describe it. I think this is the best descriptor. It's like an anti-RPG.
Okay.
Moon is a game where it begins. I'll talk a little bit about the format of the beginning because I think it's like necessary to set it up. But I'm gonna try to be spoiler light here. Obviously, you're a little kid playing his game station in the '90s, obviously like a PlayStation analog, and you play this little like RPG, very very like kind of like loosely play this little RPG where it just gives you little scenes from it of like a classic kind of Final Fantasy style RPG, and immediately you get the sense that it's like kind of poking fun at RPG tropes. Like the intro, it shows like sprite art of like a knight in a tower, and it gives you like a little text about like the knight and the backstory. And the language of the intro gets like increasingly more baroque and complex, and it's going too fast, like you can't read it. And I was like, is my game like bugged? Like, am I supposed to be getting this? And then by the time it gets to the end, the text is like so small you can't read it, and it's like, you're like, oh, okay, it's like making fun of like lore dumping and stuff. And the game is constantly doing that. Like, it's just it's making fun of RPGs on every level. And I think the core conceit and the thing that got me interested in this is that so once you get past that segment, the little kid gets sucked into the game world himself and then becomes like a character in the game world, essentially, as opposed to playing as the hero in the intro. And in the game world, you occasionally run into the hero, the like knight looking dude with a big sword who you play as in the intro. And even what it's doing is essentially, it's like RPGs often like typically solve things through violence. You go around, you get into like random encounter battles. It's like a rabid dog approaches and you cut him in half with a sword. And that's just like, that is just the primary vector of how you interact through like your character in RPG worlds. And in this, it's taking that and turning on its head and being like, people are like, oh, that's that like violent sociopath who go around like murdering fucking innocent little monsters in the woods for no
like
reason.
In Zelda, like, oh no, that Link kid's coming through. Everybody hide your pots.
Yes.
Careful.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. It does basically like that vein of webcomic is kind of like preceded by the tone of this game, because if you like, at one point I went to the bakery and I tried to go back into like the baker's house, like there's a door in the back, and he stopped me. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you can't just like go in my house. He's like, you must be friends with that hero guy. He's like, oh, he's just like going where he's uninvited and taking what he wants and shit. And the game is just constantly doing that. So it's like, it's taking all of the ideas of what an RPG is, all of these kind of like codified things that we just take for granted, that like when you play an RPG, like when you play Final Fantasy 3, you're not like, oh no, like I wonder if that monster was like nice. Like it just doesn't happen. Yeah. It doesn't really occur to you. It's not relevant. And so instead your role in this world is to go around spreading love. So you're just like,
that's great.
You just like go around like
how do you
talking
spread
to
the
people.
love? Is it like combat? Is there like a heart combat or?
No, there's like no, it's basically just going around and like talking to people. You have like an inventory that kind of reminds me of like old point and click adventures almost, where
okay. I was going to say, this sounds more like a visual novel or like an adventure game sort of thing.
Yeah. The fact that it is like sort of like a top down presentation, like like it looks like an RPG. I think it like it tricks your brain into feeling like you're playing an RPG, even if mechanically it's more similar to something like like Monkey Island maybe or something like that. I think that's probably mechanically more similar, but it feels like a JRPG. And so like, yeah, like just to give you an example of a really early thing you do, you go meet your Gramby, like Gramby. It was like a grandma figure. Okay. And you stay at her house, and she's just like incredibly sweet. She's like the only person who can see you. You're like a ghost boy at the beginning, and so she like gives you. So you put. I know it's fucking a lot to unpack here. So she gives you like clothes. So you're just like a floating set of clothes in this game because no one can see you
for the whole game.
For the whole game, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've only played the first like
so
4 hours, but yeah, I don't know if you become corporeal again at some point, perhaps. But then the next day she's like, here's some homemade cookies. I made you homemade cookies. So she gives you homemade cookies every morning when you stay at Granby's house. And then she's like, I really need some bread. Can you get me bread? And that's like one of the first like things you do to help. So you just like go to the bakery and you just buy bread for your grandmother.
Oh, that's
and
so
I'm like,
nice.
It's so nice, dude. It's like, it's funny because it's like, I think without the context of this kind of being like parody of RPGs or sort of like meta and about games, I think you could be like, oh, that sounds like fucking boring. You're just like going to the bakery and getting bread. But it is like, it's so strange and engaging and offbeat. And I just feel like it's so rare that I play a game that like makes me want to be a better person. Like playing this game, I was like, man, I want to just like That's what I just want to spread love. Like, that's so fucking important. And like, it's so important that it becomes cliche. Like, it's so shitty that like to even say this now is like, I can feel myself groaning internally because I'm like, oh yeah, like fucking yeah, big deal. This guy wants to spread love. Like,
whatever,
fucking
dude. Get over yourself.
Shut up, idiot.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like you need to like combat that cynicism in yourself. And I feel like what Moon does is like, by being so quirky and strange and offbeat and like just hyper sincere, it disarms the cynic in you. It's like, it makes you want to like fucking, you know, call your mom or whatever, or like reach out to your friends. And just like, I just like texted a friend after I played Moon and was like, hope you're doing well. Like, it just like makes you want to be a good fucking person. It's like,
that's great, man. That's, you know, and I feel like that's what makes all the great RPGs feel so good. Like even something like Yakuza, like Frank was saying, you know, it's that series where, yeah, it's funny and silly and like, whoa, diaper men, but also you do a lot of side quests that are like, help this kid find his toy or find his mom. And, you know, this group of students is trying to study for something, help them with their studying and like look for, like, it's stupid little quests that on the surface are just like, why would you ever do that? But you do it because it just fills your heart with joy. You're just like, this is nice. I like doing simple tasks for people. But it's interesting too that Moon sounds like that's kind of the core of the game. There's not some grander narrative going on, right? You're not trying to like save the world from an evil dragon or something. You're just going around doing things for people. Is that it? Or?
It's interesting because in the intro, so like the conceit of the game is obviously that you've entered the RPG that in the beginning you're playing. And in the beginning, when you play those few scenes from the RPG, it is very much you're the hero and we need you to go slay the dragon. And then you go fight the dragon and you're doing like 9,999 damage, 9,900, like you just do it. Like at one point I got a prompt in the intro that was like, you get experience and it's like, you instantly reach like max level. Like the game is like you're like the highest level imaginable. And it's just like, it's just making fun of the power fantasy. So yeah, I wonder, I'm not sure what the arc of the game is yet. I wonder if it will be like inevitably you get to that end phase where the hero is going to kill the dragon and maybe the dragon is like a good guy. Like maybe he's like fine. I'm not really sure. I'm curious kind of how I maybe like 3 to 4 hours into the game. I think it's like a 15-hour game on how long to beat. So pretty good chunk of it in. But yeah, so far it's just like going around, and I feel like the sort of lack of a definite shape of like here's where you're headed is actually part of the appeal for me, because everywhere I go I'm like, oh okay, now I'm in like a jungle, and you immerse to the jungle and you're just like in like a suburban neighborhood and you just like go into some house and a guy's just like in there watching TV laughing and you're like, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh man, I love watching TV, like excuse me if I burst out laughing, I just love TV. You're like, what the fuck is happening? It's just I don't know, it made me realize that like a type of game that I really like is I don't know what the genre label is for this. It seems like the dev who worked on this, Kenichi Nishi, has worked on a lot of these games that I would label as this kind of like quirky, offbeat RPG, but things that I would describe as like, I don't know what the label is. If people in the comments, if there are other games like this, tell me about them. But games like Undertale is obviously influenced by Moon and by Earthbound. I would say Earthbound is one of these games. The entire Mother series is probably in this vein. Moon, probably also, what's the other game by Kenichi Nishi? It's Tulip. Tulip was made by his studio. I'm not sure if he worked on it, but I think Tulip is kind of in the same vein. And then I was reading this morning that Kenichi Nishi also worked on Super Mario RPG and Chrono Trigger.
Dude, there you go.
Yeah, I feel like Super Mario RPG kind of has that thing too, where it's like that when we talked about it recently, that's the thing that Super Mario RPG has that other Mario RPGs don't have, is like other Mario RPGs are so straightforward. They're just like, this is an RPG with Mario and it's kind of like Nintendo-y. But Super Mario RPG is like, it's heartfelt and sincere and it's like fucking weird and like Malo's crying and you're like, I don't know how to like handle this emotional situation and like, I don't know, well, you'll be fine, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's just, there's something like deeply human about these weird, like, I guess offbeat RPGs is the best way I can refer to them. So I think I'm realizing that might be like my favorite genre of game or something.
Have you played Shenmue?
No, I've not played Shenmue.
It's not like that. Because like Shenmue was the step to get to Yakuza, and Shenmue like it's it's almost like the writing, and I think it's maybe just translation because it's in English. If you play it here, that everything seems kind of alien and weird. I'm sure if you're playing it in Japanese, it's more natural. But Shenmue is that where it's like you have to kill Lon D, but before that you have to like, you know, interview everyone in your local town, find out where the fishermen are before you can get access to like the fishing warehouse to get the key to open the warehouse. You have to prove yourself and become a dock worker by driving a forklift. But to get a job as a forklift driver, you have to compete in the forklift races. But it happens every Saturday, so you have to kill a week in town until Saturday. Like, and you also have to give money to your grandmother so she can get groceries, and you have to take care of the kiddies on the street and give them milk, and you have to play soccer with the kids. And it's like, I just want to get vengeance for my father. And it's like, no. Ryu, you're a teenager. You have to take
It's like
it
a
slow.
slice of life anime video game.
And then your girlfriend from Canada operates a flower shop, and she's going back home to her mother. It's like the most insane game, but I love it. And Ryu carries a photo of his girlfriend in his pocket and reflects on, like, it's that where it's like, like when you talk about like Earthbound, it's like, yeah, I'm sure like they just wanted to make a funny game and have their writing and their musings and their art in there. The combat and everything is like a second thought. Like the combat and stuff is fun, but it's like, no, let me just have the budget from Nintendo to make this crazy game. And Shenmue is that. It's like it's you know, it was like the most expensive game at the time. They started development on Sega Saturn and then eventually launched it on Dreamcast. But it was like, let's just try to make, I don't know, Japanese like high school kids simulator. Like, I don't know. It's like. It's so bizarre. And then, like, I guess that thread, like, Persona is where they got it right, where half of it is great writing and then half is good combat. But, like, I think, Jeremy, you would find Shenmue cute because it's similarly, like, this is such a weird game. But I think, especially as we get older, it's like, oh, this is the best kind of game.
Maybe I'll do a fat session of Shenmue.
You should. It's insane.
Ooh,
it's insane.
That one sounds really good. You can spend the first 2 hours doing nothing.
I basically know nothing about it, so I think that might be a good candidate.
Well, like, there's even like crazy cinematography in the cutscenes because it is inspired by like Hong Kong cinema. So it's like they have the wuxia stuff. There's like crazy Dutch angle cuts when they like the palm strikes. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome. That sounds great. Yeah, I'm curious again, like if people in the comments want to leave other games that kind of fit this this vein of just like hyper sincere. But I think like it's an important distinction. All these games we're talking about, I think are very there's a interesting but meaningful, like, or subtle but meaningful border between this and like cozy wholesome games or whatever.
Yes.
Because I think the thing that is important here is that like Moon isn't a game that coddles you or something. It's not a game that invites you in and is like, everything is great, like everyone is sweet to each other, and you know, you're like whatever, running like a farmer's
it's
market.
no Dead or Alive Extreme 3. There's no ownership of an island. You're not bringing in the girls.
Yeah, that's the most cozy, wholesome game imaginable.
Of course,
but
as we all know.
But yeah, no, I just feel, and again, there's nothing wrong with like games that are cozy and wholesome. It's fine. But yeah. I feel like there is something about these games like Earthbound, like Moon, that it's like they're deeply human in a way that is also challenging. That deals with mortality and identity and love and human connection. And these are like fraught concepts. These are not things that are like to love someone is to like risk being hurt by them or like losing them, or like it's just, I think to like to meaningfully delineate this genre from that cozy wholesome label or whatever is to like understand that these are games that are also dealing with like the surreal and the off-putting and the heavy and the emotional and the tragic. And yeah, I don't know, I think it's like there's something extremely deeply human and like literary and like, I don't know, they're just like, this fucking Moon is just like slapping me around emotionally. So yeah, I don't know.
Damn, I'm throwing that on the Steam Curator quote for this. That's
it's
a
really
good final line.
It's
yeah,
really
by the way,
fucking good.
Steam Curator list. If you're not already following that on Steam, you can see all of our thoughts on games from episodes you might have missed or anything like that. A little advertisement in the middle of the pod here. But no, that sounds, Moon sounds great. I've always heard really good things. I think what you're talking about, what you're saying you really like about it, if I could recommend you one more game to throw on the list, or two technically, the Anodyne games. If you haven't played those yet, those two especially is like what you're talking about Moon doing, the sort of like the love and wholesomeness and like, but also challenging you to consider philosophical ideas or like what faith can mean for somebody, or love, or, you know, relationships, friendships, what any of that can mean, and to present you with these like small vignettes of those moments. I think Anodyne 1 starts with it and does a really good job. Anodyne 2 was the one that made me go like, okay, it's still probably one of my favorite video games, especially the writing in it. It's like, it's got that, quirky, funny, silly sort of attitude. And then it just like punches you in the mouth with a line that makes you sit down and think about everything you did for the last 30 years of your life.
I have been meaning to play these games for a long time, and they recently came back on my radar because of holy shit, what is it called? Melos Hantani. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that terribly.
Angelinera?
Yeah, Angelinera. Have you played the demo for Angelinera?
I haven't. No.
Oh my god, it's so good. I actually, it's so strange that you bring that up because I almost wrote it down today to talk about, and the only reason I didn't put it on the pod doc is because I played it weeks ago. But Angelinera is like the same developer as Anodyne. Unbelievably cool and interesting game with like, I don't even know how to describe. It has kind of like a Final Fantasy VII overworld, but then you go into these like dungeons, I guess.
Bump action, right?
It's bump slash, bump slash combat.
Again, bringing back Dead or Alive. We're bumping.
The bump slash engine. Yeah, go check out the Angelinera demo. I won't talk too much about it because it's like, just go play it. It's just fun and cool. And that's awesome. I'll definitely play Anodyne. Should I start with 1?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think you really need to necessarily. Okay. If anything, I would say start with 2 and go back to 1. But 1's pretty short. It's maybe a couple of hours. So
okay, cool.
You can kill a couple hours. Yeah, they're really good. They're great games. I've always really enjoyed those. Their game before Angelinera, I think, was Sephony. Another really good one.
I saw
it's
that.
more
I've
like
never
a
played that.
3D platformer one. It's really good.
Okay, awesome.
They make good stuff.
Awesome.
Oh, and the Freebird games. You've played those too, right? To the Moon and all that, or?
No, I've never. I know To the Moon. I've never played it.
Oh man. Oh, dude. I hate to throw more long recommendations at you, but it's a goodie. I don't know. I like, it's cool that they're, what you're talking about with Moon, the subversive sort of like RPG, not quite RPG stuff. It's funny that they figured out the tropes of it in 97, which feels like pretty quick to catch on. That's maybe a bad sign for where RPGs were at the time, that you could make jokes about what they were about at that point. But I feel like that sort of style of writing and game design approach, I've played more games making fun of JRPGs, or not making fun of, but being subversive in the genre than I have actual JRPGs. So I have to do the opposite of what you're doing and go play like Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana.
Oh man, can we do like a Chrono Trigger book club? That's like the best game ever.
We still got to do the Sekiro book club. We got a lot of book clubs to catch up on, but I would like to do that. That would be fun.
Sekiro's so good. If I had to, I would go Chrono Trigger. But bullet to my head, I would go Chrono Trigger.
We might. I don't know.
Frank, have you played
August is
Chrono
around
Trigger?
the corner.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger was one of those games I played like, I remember if I was sick or heartbroken. It was like 8 years ago. I was just in bed for like a week and I played Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI back to back. And those two cemented as like, these are the best JRPGs of the generation. I have like a Famicom, like a Japanese copy of Chrono Trigger, but like the soundtrack, everything about Chrono Trigger is like phenomenal. Like, I mean, yeah, just the way it also uses like time travel, everything, the characters, like, I love Chrono Trigger. Also, the combat of it's cool too. Oh yeah. The combat.
It's about time travel. You're allowed to know that much.
Dude. I'm just kidding. I don't care.
Yeah.
No, that's I do need to play Chrono Trigger. I have it installed on my DS. I mean, I paid for it on my DS. I'm ready to play it. I've heard nothing but good things. I'm so lucky because I don't know, outside of the time travel stuff, I don't know anything that happens in that game. I know literally nothing except for Torium did the art. So
Yeah. I guess I won't say anything then, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah, you'll love it.
I don't mind if there's something that you want to get across.
Like it's one of those games. I could be wrong, where it has like 16 endings, right?
It does have
what?
endings.
That's what, because it's time travel. You can travel at different points so it's one of those things where it's like, if you want, you can try to fight Chrono, the boss, like day 2 or like the second thing, and your party's super weak. But if somehow you cheese it, you can beat the boss. Like, yeah, you can. I think it's one of those games where you can try to fight the boss at any time, but like you're not equipped for it, whatever. But like, there's multiple different endings. I think it's also like which characters you have in your party at the time or whatever. But it's like, it's one of those beautiful, I mean, all JRPGs do this, but it's like, yeah, you recruit different characters from different parts in time. My favorite character is this like cave girl, and like you go back in time the dinosaurs, and she has a giant club, and it's like, it's so fun. It's so fun.
It sounds like this goes places that I didn't expect.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
The best. I maintain that Squaresoft in the 90s and early 2000s is my number one game developer of all time. They were just fucking churning out masterpieces.
All right. Developers of Kingdom Hearts. So I agree.
Yeah, there you
when
go.
that's when they made it.
I knew a recent addition to my case, my hypothesis.
Hell yeah. Moon Remix RPG Adventure, by the way, is what we were talking about. Pick it up on Steam. It's on sale still when you're listening to this. Maybe. No, it won't be on sale anymore. But you can pick it up on Steam for like $20. What are you playing it on? Jeremy, you playing it on Steam? Or?
I'm playing it on Steam. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's on Switch also as well, right?
Yeah, I believe it came out on Switch first, maybe. But
okay.
yeah, it's really good, man. It's just like it's just like it's rare that I play a game where the writing is so good that I just stop on like a single line for a very long time, like I did with Disco Elysium, and I'm just like, man, I can't believe like that's a line in a video game. So yeah, check it out. It's meant a lot to me so far, and I'll definitely keep playing it.
Speaking of lines of dialogue, this is not a transition. This is me trying to just bring up Octopath Traveler 2. Frank, I know you're playing that. I just want to briefly talk about that. Particio, some of the lines, I don't know if you've played his arc of the story yet, the cowboy capitalist guy.
Yeah. He's the barter, the merchant, right? Yeah.
Yes. His lines of dialogue with him and his father and the rest of the townsfolk are like, I can't believe that's a line of dialogue in a video game. I genuinely can't believe someone wrote that down and like was allowed to publish it. It's so good. The writing in that game is just phenomenal. I don't know where you are in it, but
I'll play like that game on and off. I think I have like 30 hours. One of my favorite details is like you can just go up to any NPC and like there's different things you can do. One is you just like get information and you can read an NPC's entire backstory, and every NPC it's like a paragraph and it's like its own beautiful short story. It's so like it's amazing. Like there was one where it's like I can make it up. It was like, oh, she is the daughter. Her father is sick. She works every day. She has to take care of her brother. Da, 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 da. And it's like a girl in a bakery shop, and it's like you gave this girl a super tragic backstory, and you wouldn't know unless you interrogate it or you use an option to find out their backstory.
You're like tied to a chair. Like, what's happening to your dad?
Yeah. Why do you look so tired?
So you have 8 characters, and each character has like its own NPC action. One is you can barter with anybody. You can knock somebody out if you're trying to like do security. You can invite them to your party. You can learn a spell from them. You can one of the girls is like a beautiful singer, so you can like I don't know if it's like flirt, but it's like you just get presents from people because you're so pretty and talented. So that's what I go to. You can bribe someone for information, and I think the last one is like you just like talk to them, and then they spill their guts, and that's their backstory. Or one's like reveal. I think it's called reveal, and reveal is their backstory, and then sometimes they'll tell you a secret item to pick up in town. But it's like it's such a dense game that it's like this is insane. And again, it's just
crazy
one of
how
those
much
things
depth there is.
Yeah, and like the combat, the job system, it's just one of those things where it's like, man, there's a new great game release every single week that it's like, you know, that's like even this summer is great that there's not 6,000 new games, like AAA games coming out, because it's like, all right, now's the backlog time, Summer Games Fest. Yes. Like I'm loading up games on my Steam Deck for traveling and stuff, so it's like, yeah, there's so much stuff to play, and but yeah, Octopath, like it's just cozy just to grind a bit and then do the story stuff. It's such a creative game, and yeah, it carries that like Square RPG energy of just all these silly characters, backstories, unique pairings, great music, great combat, etc.
Yeah, Team Asano, they know what they're doing. Triangle Strategy, Octopath Traveler, something else in the future, hopefully. But you know, this is the summer of gaming. It is slowed down, like you said. Fewer AAA games. Great time to go back to your backlog. That's right. To all who serve,
to all who practice.
To all who practice, happy summer of gaming. But instead of catching up with games that I have played and haven't finished yet from this year, I've decided to instead go back to perhaps, in my opinion, one of the greatest games of all time, Dishonored 1.
Oh, baby,
this game. So the reason I'm going back and playing this isn't just because I had some strange urge to play a really good video game. I've been talking with Jeremy about, now Jeremy's the resident video game developer. We'll let him keep the title. I'm not going to try to bogart my way in or anything. But from time to time, I like to fiddle, and usually more mechanical stuff. I like just like going in Unity, figuring out like how did this game do this thing, and just trying to make it happen. I don't really post about it much because I just like doing the technical side of it. I like programming it. I get like 80% of the way through it, and I'm like, this looks like garbage. But I kind of like can parse in my head how they did this sort of thing. But I had this idea for a game that I'm not going to talk about because who knows if it ever happens. And also, I think it's a really good idea, and I don't want to ruin it. But like, I've been thinking about how do you do an immersive sim? How do you make like a game that's reactive to the player? And to do that, I've been thinking about architecture. I've been looking at photos of like these really weird apartment buildings and how do you make this style? What does this look like? What does the society look like? How do you make a space in an area and think about the narrative aspect of it? Because like I said, I focus more on the mechanical stuff. So I'm like, okay, I got to go play games that inspire me, right? Games that have worlds that I love being in, so I can get a sense of like, how did they do this? What do I love about those things? So going back to Dishonored 1, the first game that I played from Arcane, and seeing, oh my God, it still hits. They nailed it. It's so good. Like, so when's the last time you guys played Dishonored 1? Do you remember? Like, was it for the doc from 3 years ago now?
Yeah, so that was like, I think one of the first major projects I worked on in quarantine, where I think I played that for like 2 months and played, like, it's funny because Dishonored is technically one of my most played Steam games, and it's just from all the game capture stuff. But yeah, but I think I got it close to launch on PlayStation 4, played like half of it. But yeah, when the Steam version came out, or sorry, when we did the documentary, I played all of it and was like kind of blown away because, yeah, I missed the boat when it came out back then. And it got lots of accolades, Game of the Years, but I just never played it until we did that project on it. And I really liked it, but yeah.
Yeah, I got when did Dishonored 1 come out? What year?
2012?
Yeah, I believe so.
God, that's a long time
pull it
ago.
up here.
I have owned Dishonored 1 for so long as a console game, and I think I played it before I was ready to appreciate it, if that makes sense. Like, I started working at GameSpot in 2013, and I feel like between 2013 and 2015 when I worked there is when I started to, like, I deepen my appreciation for games. I feel like I sort of had to, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like movies. Like, at some point you see a really good, like, you're a kid and you're like, yeah, I love movies. I love like watching movies. And then at some point someone's like, have you seen this like weird old movie or like this kind of like esoteric piece of shit movie? And you're like, I don't know, that seems like old and weird. And you watch it, you're like, oh my God, like I didn't know there were like movies like this. I feel like I played Dishonored 1 before I like understood the appeal of immersive sims. So I kind of was like, oh, this is like, what? This is like Hitman? This is like first person Hitman with like, but except everything's like steampunk. Yeah, I guess that's cool. So I played like a little bit of it and I thought it was like pretty cool. And then I played Dishonored 2 years later, and that's the one that like fucking exploded my mind. So I own Dishonored 1 on multiple platforms. I've never played the entire thing. And it's just one of those games that I'm waiting for a day just to like pump it, the whole thing in a day.
Fair. Yeah, Dishonored 2 is definitely sort of like the sequel that improves on a lot of the stuff. I think answered a lot of questions that one left hanging design-wise. But I get what you're saying about the sort of being able to appreciate immersive sims, because it is a very different design style, right? Like it's not like just playing a linear action game and going like, okay, this is the goal that I have. I'm going to go here and do this thing. I feel like immersive sims, and maybe this is purely anecdotal, but it does feel like it makes sense to me, because it's my anecdote. Playing an immersive sim is way easier if you don't have a lot of video games to play. Because when I had Dishonored 1, that was like the game I had, you know? It was that and Rock Band or something. So when you only have one video game to play, you know, you play Wolfenstein over and over again, or you play like Mario 64 100 times and you find all the different routes to jump around. If you play Dishonored 1 and it's all you play for like 3 months, you're going to find all the weird routes. You're going to do all the optional stuff. And that, I think, is when those games open up, because Dishonored 1 for me was like the game where I realized, oh, I'm not being creative enough in video games. Like, I'm not trying enough weird things. And the more I play games as time has gone on, I mean, I'm 28 now, I'm going to be 29 soon. And like, as I play video games more and more, I'm like finding myself thinking back on what it was like playing Dishonored 1 for the first time. Not just the attitude I had towards the amount of video games I had, because like back then I probably had like I said, like 8 sitting on my shelf, and now I have far too many on Steam. But I think like I'm not creative enough when I'm playing, like I'm not trying enough things, because that's the beauty of Dishonored and any of the immersive sims from Arcane and now Weird Wolves, Raphael Colantonio's new studio, the first game they did, what was it, Weird West. Those kinds of games, Deus Ex, stuff like that, where it's like the joy is throwing a grenade at something that isn't supposed to eat a grenade, or like whatever, jumping on things that aren't supposed to exist. I mean, Prey is shooting goo at a wall and jumping on the goo to climb up to places you're not supposed to get to. It's this desire to have a conversation with a game, right? To ask a question and have it answer it, or even play Jeopardy with it and give it an answer and hope it gives you a question or something, right? Like it's just this like almost performance art, like interactive theater that I feel like you don't get out of a lot of, or at least I'm not getting out of a lot of bigger modern games. And so going back to it now and trying to purposefully look at the design, not just because, I mean, we have a great documentary that you can watch, youtube.com/@noclipvideo. And that's great. And there's multiple documentaries about Prey and Dishonored and everything. But going back and like intentionally thinking about what is it that I love about this so much, listening to the sound design, right? Listening to the characters and like trying to figure out what I want out of this. I think Dishonored might have my favorite barks, my favorite like NPC walking around tertiary dialogue, because I'd never heard, you guys know that sea shanty, early in the morning, wait, head up, she rises. Like that's just a classic to me at this point. I know a sea shanty because of a video game. And then I think Assassin's Creed 4 came out not too long after Dishonored 1, and I heard it there too. And like just shit like that, or like the Frazen. I know that goes back to Thief and even games before that. So it's, I don't know. For me, that's like my sort of lens into that genre, and seeing all these things. Because there's so many levels in Dishonored 1. Like the Flooded District is this gross, sad, gray area in the middle of this really great game that happens right after a sort of narrative twist where you're betrayed. Spoilers. And it sucks because it's scary, but then you're there and you're like, I love being here. I love this new area, this new space. It's nice to be scared in a game where you're a superhero, basically, right? You have all these powers and the world is so expansive. And I don't know, even Dishonored 2, right? The streets of Karnaca, walking around in that beautiful place that's so sunny and sandy and everything's wood and sand. And just, I don't know. I could talk about Dishonored 1 forever. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
You have like, I feel like you made it click for me why Dishonored 1 didn't work for me before I was ready to appreciate it. And I think what it was that like when you play an immersive sim, part of the joy is that, like you said, it's like you're participating in this like improvisational theater, except instead of delivering your lines, you're performing actions. And it's like, unless you realize that the breadth of possibility space that you're in, it's very easy to, like, I think I interpreted it as a way more linear game than it actually was. Like, I thought the things that I were doing were sort of the prescribed, like, this is how you do it. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool, I guess. You got like knock that guy out and then you like move past him. That's like how the game is meant to be played. And I think it took me a while because like I played like Thief as a kid and I had no idea what the fuck was going on. Like, I did not get anywhere in Thief because I was like, this is like hard and weird and esoteric and it's so dark and I just like don't know why I have like what is a blackjack and what are rope arrows, and like I just didn't know what was going on. And I feel like with Dishonored 1, I just was like, yeah, I didn't realize the breadth of approaches you could take. Whereas when I played Dishonored 2 and I was kind of like, I understood more what an immersive sim was. Like one of my favorite moments in Dishonored 2 is, I can't remember which mission it is. It might be the approach to Clockwork Mansion. I can't remember, but regardless, you like one of the routes you can go as you sneak through the apartment of this like older couple in the city. And as I was stealthing through their house, like they didn't realize I was there. I was like behind their couch, and I just was like listening to them be like, "Oh, the city has been quite in an uproar lately," and I was just like, "This is so fucking cool!" Like I'm just like doing the most like benign form of stealth gameplay, which is just sneaking through someone's house. But it's the feeling of it was such an interesting subversion of what I think of as stealth, which is like you're sneaking up on someone to kill them. And I was like, I just don't want to upset these old. I don't want them to know I'm here because they'll be scared. And I'm just like in this like these old like grandparents' house and just listening to like passively getting information about the universe through osmosis.
That is the thing that I found myself going, okay, I have to make the game I've been thinking about, and like if it takes me 6 years, I'll do it, because I've just been, as soon as I was walking around in not Lady Boyle's mansion, the party, that's a really good one, but the one before that where you have to, or it's a couple before that maybe, where you have to go and like kill the Lord Regent, or not the Lord Regent, that's the final thing, but like the first sort of like mission you have where you have to go and poison the guy's drinks or kill them or whatever, and there's like a million options. As you traverse that level, and basically all of Dishonored 1 and 2 and Deathloop and Prey and its arcane sort of secret sauce, when you don't interact with the world, I don't think there's very many games where intentionally I stop doing what I'm doing. I don't kill an enemy. I don't restrain someone or do whatever the goal is so I can hear what they have to say. I just want to hear this dialogue and like see this world. And it's the way that it feels so alive. Obviously, like there is a bit of like just maybe whatever. I don't know what the word is, but like a disconnect where you see stuff happening and it's always coincidentally as soon as you show up. That is a little like, but I feel like it makes the world come alive, you know, when things are happening and you don't have to interact with them to make them happen all the time. Incidental dialogue. It's moments where, like in the beginning of Dishonored 1, you're walking through the sewers to escape the prison that you're in Dunwall. And as soon as you are in this underground area, you see these guards throwing a dead body into the sewers. And they're like just chatting about, oh, this, did you hear that this stuff happened? And, oh, the Lord Regent, I can't believe it. And Lady Caldwell is dead. Crazy. Can't believe it was that Corvo guy. I thought he was cool with her. So, like, they're giving you all this exposition. Or the announcer that plays over those big speakers hanging throughout the city, where they're just giving you these, like, fascistic dialogue moments of, like, anyone who finds Corvo Atano, please report him to the police. He's an enemy of the state. And it's like, you can find that guy in the game. I didn't even know that. When I went and watched the documentary again that you guys did for Dishonored, I was like, oh, I didn't even realize you could go and kill that guy. And then he's replaced by is it Carrie Fisher or whoever the voice actress? Yeah, is it Carrie Fisher? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Who, funny enough, I didn't realize, voice actress for Peter's boss in Family Guy. There you go. I mentioned Family Guy in the episode. Yay me.
We did it.
Let's go. That's the whole point of the Crewcast. But yeah, I think there's something about the way that Arcane makes games that not just very few studios do, but very few games even come close to for me. Very few, especially the bigger budget ones. I find myself looking for and finding a lot of their design elements in smaller games. The stuff like Umurangi Generation or Anodyne even, right? Where you're walking around and the world is happening and you're interacting with these characters and it feels like a place that people live in and they have desires and they're interesting. And it's not just everyone is giving you a quest or giving you information explicitly. It feels like I'm in a zone with people with desires.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you bring up about like when the world is narratively rich in a way that isn't directly when you're not walking up to people and triggering dialogue for them to say the thing, when your main form of interaction is combat. It is interesting how that it motivates you to restrain yourself, like, because you can play Dishonored like a sociopath and go around just like murdering everyone on sight. But yeah, that is interesting. It rewards you for your restraint, which doesn't mean like don't kill people or knock them out. It just means like, you know, use stealth to gather information and like maybe just like hang on a minute and like look and listen. It invites you to interact with the world in a way that is like a little more patient and not like compassionate, but like more like sensitive, not emotionally sensitive, but just like in a sensory way, just like you're feeling out the world as you take steps. And yeah, that's what I really like about immersive sims. I also need to go back and like revisit the Looking Glass games, like Thief and System Shock with my adult brain, because again, as a child, I was just like, what the fuck is this game and why is it so hard?
It's good that we're getting remakes too. System Shock Remake, I think, is probably the way to play that game. I tried playing the original System Shock, and I don't think anyone should do that ever again.
I have tried to. The lack of mouse, like I consider myself someone who likes to play the original over remakes with almost everything. But the lack of mouse look is very very hard to get past.
Yeah, maybe you can mod it in. Maybe that'll make it.
I think
more,
you can.
More easier. Well, there you go.
I think you can.
Yeah. Anyway, Dishonored. I think it's one of the greatest games ever made. I could talk about it forever. I think Arcane makes great games, and also, I made a tweet about it about Dishonored 1 and how it's a great game, and even when the Arcane Austin announcement about it being shut down by Xbox happened, there were so many people saying that the Arcane Austin didn't work on Dishonored 1. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why that happened. I think Danny talked about it when it happened as well. They did. Again, documentary about it. There's a link in the description. I'll make sure it's there. Go watch it. They worked on it. I don't know why. It feels like revisionism to be like, oh, Redfall was bad, so Arcane couldn't have worked on the game that I like. It's like, guys, that's not how that works. Or like, oh, 70% of the people got fired. It's like, yeah, okay, the studio closing's still bad though. Or 70% of the people left after Redfall was done. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, just fucking video games are good, and the people who make them are great and deserve respect. And you shouldn't try to quantify or qualify their firing because they made a thing you don't like. Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk on more important matters than angry gamers. Before we get to emails, I have to ask, Jeremy, what the hell is Italian-American? Because I think you posted about this, and I watched a clip of it, and I saw Martin Scorsese's mom, who plays the mom in Goodfellas, which was a very funny thing to learn. What is this a document? Is this a vlog that Martin Scorsese made with it?
It's a vlog. It's a 1974 vlog. Italian-American is a movie that I've been meaning to watch for a very long time. I think it is from, it's either 72 or 74. It's just Martin Scorsese went in the early 70s and hung out with his parents with a camera crew for an afternoon, like a Saturday afternoon. And it's just like, I've just been meaning to watch it forever because it just seems like a really humble, sweet little thing. And it was exactly what I imagined. So I just wanted to, I know this is a fucking video games podcast. I feel like it's worth bringing up just because it's like, I don't know. I feel like when I talk to people about like movies and stuff that maybe they haven't come across, people are like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm glad I know about that." Yeah, and it's on YouTube.
That's the best part of having you on. Like it's you always have these really weird perspectives and art that no one's ever gonna even bother to watch. Like you're watching 50-year-old movies and talking about those instead of indie games that came out 2 weeks ago, and that's the best part. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I'll keep it tight talking about Italian-American, but basically it's just like he just films with them, and so they're the children of Italian immigrants. So it's kind of about they're telling their family history of coming to America and integrating, and kind of like these like multi-ethnic New York neighborhoods where everyone was like, you know, either basically like Jewish, Italian, or Irish immigrants, and they're kind of just like going through their family history. But it's like, if that sounds dry to you, the primary layer of this documentary is like an old couple who've been together for 40 years bickering in the sweetest way possible. So like it opens and it's, you see Martin Scorsese in the foreground. He's like doing the slate and stuff and syncing it up. And in the background, his mom and dad are sitting on opposite ends of the like the couch that's wrapped in plastic like old people used to do. And she's like, why you sitting so far away? And he's like, I'm not sitting far away. And she's like, you come over here, come over. And he's like, you come over here. And they're just like bickering in this way that it reminds me of my Jewish grandparents, rest in peace. They had like kind of a similar energy where it's just like, you can tell they love each other through the way they bicker or something. Like the fact that they're arguing is so immaterial because it's like a deeper level of comfort. Like, you know how like friends you've had for 20 years or something, you'll have these little like spats where it's not like a fight. You're just kind of like, you're getting heated about something, but it's almost like playful. I feel
you
like
only
it's
have
like,
that desire to be heated about nothing, about something that doesn't matter because you're friends. You know, if you're a stranger, you would never get into that debate about. You'd be like, yeah, shut up, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, or like it would, you run the risk if you have that same tone of conversation with a stranger. There isn't like 20 years of context to be like, the subtext of this whole thing is that we love each other and this is just like for fun. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, there's something so beautiful about it's basically just a documentary about two old like children of Italian immigrants and kind of just like their family history. I have to share one of the best moments is they're talking about how they went on their honeymoon finally after 39 years.
Oh my goodness.
They went to Italy. And the mom is like, oh, and I've got pictures, and this is us in Palermo. And she like pulls out a picture. They're all sitting like eating at the table in Italy. And she's like, and this is us in Rome. It's another picture of them eating at a dinner table. And she keeps pulling up pictures of them in Italy, and every picture is them eating at a table at a restaurant. Like, it's so fucking funny. It's just very understated and sweet. And I highly recommend it. It's odd.
This sounds beautiful. It sounds really nice and like. It's cool to get that sort of window into a very brief window into the lives of people who matter to somebody else, right? Like when Scorsese's filming this, it's like he's doing it intentionally, and there's some level of like obvious. I mean, it's his parents. He loves them. I hope.
Yeah.
So there's that level of it. But I think I was joking, but now I'm thinking about it. Like I don't watch vlogs, but Cassie, my by the time you're listening to this, probably wife. Thank you. She watches a lot of vlogs, and I see these families, these young people, these adults that are talking about their lives and the way that it's cut. And it's funny how like the Scorsese, the Italian American's not cut like a bunch, right? It's a lot of more longer shots and like.
It has some longer shots. It is like edited, but the fact that it is filmed across the course of one afternoon and the film is like 45, 50 minutes makes me think that, I mean, they probably cut out like 2/3 of the footage, which for like just rolling the cameras all afternoon, that's like, it's pretty unedited by those standards. So yeah, it's a lot of just kind of like raw conversation.
For sure. And I look at these vlogs and I noticed while we're watching them, and I've cursed Cassie with the knowledge of this, you can see that they're cutting out every possible pause and breath and like second of non-dopamine enforced, if you can have a single second of just somebody thinking about something before saying it, then that will kill the vibe. The viewer won't sit through another ad or whatever. It's like, I get that that's the game of content creation, but you look at this documentary or a lot of older documentaries that are just like Noclip documentaries that are long conversations, that are like people expressing their thoughts and ideas. And I'm just like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I think about the kids a lot when it comes to vlogs. Like these kids are going to look back on these like moments in their lives and they're going to be like, oh, they didn't include the bit where we were just like sitting there talking about how funny it was to when Auntie, whatever, did this thing. And like, that's not in the vlog. The vlog is about, oh, we were on the roller coaster and it was like this and it was crazy. I don't know if we're going to I don't know if those kids will look back on it the same way that maybe Scorcese looks back on Italianamerican or someone like you looks back on it, right? I don't know if you could watch, day in the life and it's like, whoa, all these crazy moments in 20 years and be like, that was nice to watch, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I definitely have. We talked about this a little bit when we were talking about Let's Plays last week, but the reason I like Let's Plays sometimes, with very few people that I enjoy that do them, but the people that I enjoy that do them, it's like it has like a documentary quality to it because it's I like things that are like really raw and uncut for that exact reason, because there's like the humanity is the thing that happens in the moments that you might end up cutting if you were trying to like cut like a tight 25-minute vlog for a YouTube video that hits a certain pace, like a certain relentless content pace. So yeah, it definitely has like, it just has like a slower kind of, I don't know. Yeah, it makes you feel like you're there as opposed to you're getting like the highlight reel of it, where it's like, these are the top 10 moments of Martin Scorsese's mom, running them down, coming in at number, like, I don't know. There's just something raw about it. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, maybe that's like the meaningful difference between like a vlog and a documentary, or between content and like cinema or like documentary cinema is like, is the purpose of the editing, the cinematography, the fact that they're documenting these things in the first place, is the purpose of it to create something that is purely to entertain and distract, or is the primary purpose of it to like preserve or educate or like explore and expose some sort of like deeper level of humanity that's underlying these things. And so, I mean, Martin Scorsese is obviously like an incredible filmmaker with such a deep level of pathos. And what deeper level of compassion could you have for human beings than for your parents? Assuming your parents are not pieces of shit, but my parents are cool. So I like see this and I'm like, damn, dude, like I don't know. I watched this and I was like, fuck, he must like, I walked away from this documentary and I was like, he must miss his mom so much. And I was like, that's like fucking, that's crazy that like I sat down and watched a documentary and that was the thing I walked away feeling. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very real. I highly recommend it.
Beautiful. Yeah. Frank, you taught classes about documentaries, right? Did you make your students watch this, or is there anything in the same vein that you remember seeing?
Man, I'm trying. Yeah, we used to have like a list of shorts that we'd pull up a lot. It's like jogging my memory now. But yeah, because I taught documentary filmmaking from like 2015 to 2022. And like half the way we would do it, we would also ask every year students to just like show us what you like. What YouTube do you watch? What like eventually like TikTok. Like we were interested in what they would watch. And then I think we would try to pull old examples of films. God, I'm trying to remember now. It's like, it's been so long. There was one short that we always played. It was called like, I don't know if it was called Bus 127 or something. I think that's a different film. But there was a short from a San Francisco festival where a filmmaker, there was like a bus route in San Francisco where they just allowed like unhoused to sleep on the bus as it drove around at night just to give some form of shelter. But that documentary was that, where it was very much just like camera in the back. We're not doing commentary. We're just witnessing and observing it. So like I think we did try to show students like some examples of like slow cinema of like, no, you can let the camera roll. You don't have to have like the hey YouTube, welcome, you know, da 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 da. I'm trying to, I don't know. It's been so long. Like, oh man, I would have to pull up examples of it.
Yeah,
but,
no worries,
Right.
dude.
Yeah, of course. But that's just interesting to hear.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking when Frank was talking about that is like, because I was trying to think of examples too of other things I'd recommend, and I was like, I wonder, like, what's the because sometimes when I watch like fiction or like narrative stuff as opposed to documentary, there is like there's a level of artifice that has to be there because it's like, you know, Joe Pesci isn't really like, he doesn't really have a dead person in his trunk, you know, like, so it's all fake, but I feel like I've been watching a bunch of Yasujiro Ozu movies recently over the last like couple of years, and like probably maybe my new favorite filmmaker as of like the last couple of years, and I feel like his movies are so they're like the narrative equivalent of this type of documentary. They're just like, because it is very like Frank, like you said, the term slow cinema. They're very much in that tradition of slow cinema, but yeah, there's like. I don't know how you do that or something. Like Mike Leigh might be a good, more contemporary example, the British filmmaker, where the way Mike Leigh made movies was he would get all of the actors together once they assigned roles to everyone. And instead of making the movie immediately and memorizing the script, they would all get together and they would do like character studies. And he would talk to like, you know, whoever, like Jim Broadbent, and be like, who is this character to you? Like, what do you, in this scene, this is what's written. How do you think they would be feeling? Is this how they would authentically like react to this? And then they would make modifications to the script as it goes on. And so when you watch the final result of Mike Leigh's movies, they're like, they feel like these people are real, because it's not just, you don't just like show up. It's not like method acting. Like, it's not like Daniel Day-Lewis pretending he's Abraham Lincoln, although Daniel Day-Lewis is a great actor.
Pretending.
It's like, it's just like they understand these characters on such a level that when they show up on set, they're ready to just like become them or something. So yeah, I don't know. There's something very beautiful about that. It's hard to capture that. I mean, I've fucking worked on narrative productions, and it's very like, I have a lot of admiration for actors, because I don't know how the fuck you just like become a different person. I can be myself, but like I don't know how to fucking be anyone else, and it's like that's like magic to me.
Yeah. How do you be Batman? How do you become the Joker? Well, for most people, it seems like you either lose it or you like start sending your co-stars bags of shit or whatever Jared Leto did when he lost his mind. You know what I was thinking of, by the way, we were saying with the slow cinema and sort of like believing that an actor is a person. That fucking, what's that whimsical named guy? Perfect Days. What was it? Wim Wenders, right? The director.
Oh, yeah.
Whimsical.
Oh,
Wim
yeah.
Wenders. That's the kind of like slow cinema, sitting on a shot, nothing interesting's happening, and yet it's so interesting because you're just like experiencing a life that's not even real. It's not. What is real life? Is it not just a series of moments that we experience? Who's to say? It's all a hallucination.
Amen, brother.
That's right. You know what? My favorite hallucination is the games that we've covered today, including Dead or Alive Extreme 3, Dishonored, Moon, Remix RPG, and Italianamerican, my favorite video game of all time.
Scorsese's best video game.
It's right. That's right. They should make an interactive fiction version of that movie. It's just a lot of sitting and then maybe pressing A sometimes. But there are some emails that we got from the listeners. Frank?
Yeah, we had an email. And again, if you want to write to us, podcast@noclip.video, or if you're in our Patreon Discord, use the podcast chat channel. We had an email from Graham Walker, and they said, "Hey, crew. So last week I decided to start a gaming blog. Early days with it, but I've written the first couple of pieces. I'm really proud of what I've written, and I think it's worth reading. A day or two later, I listened to your podcast to hear you guys say the blogging scene is dead, which left me feeling pretty disappointed with my idea. To be clear, I do agree with the points that the crew made, but it left me thinking about what I could do. I don't have the skills nor access to good enough tech to be creating video essays, and I feel that think piece style writing is my main skill as a hobby. What do you think are the potential avenues available for those like myself who are interested in some form of content creation? Thanks, Graham Walker."
I think
a tough
you
question.
got to not do it as a job, right? Like
You
unfortunately,
just do it because you like doing it, at least
just
to
do it
start.
because you love it. If it turns into something that makes you money, and this is basically everyone I know who makes video essays for a living, was they just did it because they thought it was interesting, right? I think when you chase the grind, especially for something like gaming opinions or like reviews or whatever, you are sort of putting yourself in a position where, I mean, you know, anyone can do this. Can they do it well? Maybe not. You know, I haven't read your articles. I'm sure they're, you know, I'm sure you're proud of them. You wouldn't put them out there. But it's so easy for anyone to write their thoughts on games on Twitter, on Facebook, on Reddit, whatever, right? So you're competing with people who are already on platforms that are easier to read the content from, and then you're also, you got to get people onto your thing, and it takes time, right? When you're a new voice, that's all it is. It's time, right? And it's whether or not you can afford to spend that time building up your sort of your platform, giving people an opportunity to know what your takes are, what to go to you for, right? To build your niche. That's really all it is. I think what Danny's saying isn't necessarily wrong. I think it is discouraging, and I don't think he's wrong to discourage, especially in the current industry. I know a ton of people who are trying to break into the games industry for writing and video stuff. I mean, I've only been doing it for a couple of years now, and even still, I feel like I don't know if I know I'm getting there. I just got lucky. I got really, really lucky. Like, I'm so lucky. Oh my goodness. So the fact that people are still who've been doing this for years, doing this longer than me, and still are trying to sort of get their foot in the door, it's like it's tough. I don't know. You just got to do it because you love it. You got to do it because you love it, and eventually, if you keep grinding at it, it might work out for you. But it's a tough go. I don't know. Jeremy, you were in the industry for more than a decade, right? For GameSpot and now Noclip. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is it is sadly very hard to get people to just like sit down and read a piece of writing if it's not something that's on the front page of a website that have like brand recognition with. I would say, like Jesse said, focus on doing it because you love it. Focus on the things that you feel passionate about. And like, yeah, I guess like inquire about like what are the things that you feel passionate about. And it's okay to be a generalist, but if you have a niche that is like your thing, I think that is the kind of I hate the fact that like brand recognition is a thing that we even need to talk about when talking about like I want to write about like art, but like it is kind of the primary way that people recognize and glom onto things and like continue to keep up with them, especially if there's the resistance of like, oh, I have to sit down and read something. So if you're like the RPG guy or if you're like the fighting game guy, I think it's like it doesn't mean you have to stick to one thing. But I think if you can tap into subcultures, it will probably help you find people who are more interested in finding something that caters to the thing that they're interested about when you find like an affinity group. The other thing I would say is if you feel like you're not a video editor, but if you feel like you would maybe like to try something that is not a video essay, but maybe could tap into a different audience through YouTube. I don't know how you feel about having your voice recorded, but I would say if you want to give it a go and you feel confident enough, record yourself reading your essay and just literally put it over. Just go play like Doom 1993 for 20 minutes and then just like put your voice over gameplay. Because this is not to discredit highly edited video essays. I think that there is value in the editing, and you can obviously like enhance and augment the meaning of the words. But the amount of video essays I've just listened to, and this is a war crime to say this is a fucking person who edits video essays. Sometimes I just like listen to the audio track anyway, and it's like, damn, that's like hundreds of hours of someone's effort that I'm just like,
dude, I'll be straight. I listened to the Dishonored documentary while I was playing Destiny 2 today. I'll be straight about it. It's totally a good documentary, but it was on the other monitor.
Yeah. No, it happens. It's like, and I mean, it's cool that it's fine to have like different layers of interaction anyway. But yeah, I think if you did want to branch out beyond just the written word and you feel confident enough, just read your essay into a microphone and then just slap it over some gameplay. You don't even need to edit it. Just like, get just like whatever free iMovie or whatever the fuck you can get your hands on, and just put like 25 minutes of you playing whatever Aero the Acrobat on Super Nintendo.
Hell yeah. What a pull. Frank, do you have any thoughts on this or?
Yeah, I mean, like, my immediate thought was like, just put your writing where people can see it. So it's like, I mean, yeah, if you aren't already you can post stuff on Twitter. Like, honestly, if you want to write an essay about Gran Turismo, make a post on the Gran Turismo Reddit. Like, you know, you don't have to necessarily like pull people to your website, but you can just get your writing and see how people react to it. I really miss Tumblr. I used Tumblr to write about films back like a decade ago, and now I feel like I know there's Medium, but like there's no site where people are going for long for. I mean, I'm in my orbit. There's no site that people are going to for long for reading. Like everyone, like people post stuff on Twitter, but it's either directing to some other place or it's like a paragraph where there's no nuance, and it's like no, I don't know. But I would so. And I don't think there's going to be a new exodus to Tumblr or anything, but like there was an era where you could write a long post and people would share it and react. I wish there was a letterbox for video games. There kind of is. I think it's called like backlogged or stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have so maybe we just have to beat that drum, or maybe that's where it will be. But hey, start going to backlogged if that's it. But like, because I feel like letterbox is a place where people are practicing film criticism as like, it can be pithy and short, but it's like people are at least there's a space for it. Whereas games I mean, I don't know. There's Steam forums is insane, but Steam reviews, like honestly, fill a need. Indie devs need Steam reviews because that's how you float the algorithm. So if you're playing a small game, leave a review. The developers will read it. You're having direct access. That's why I love going to conventions. Even before doing Noclip, it's like, oh, I could just walk up to a developer and talk to them and things like that. So it's like, what's a need for, where's a need that you can fill? But yeah, Graham Walker. I tried Googling Graham Walker games. I want to read your blog. Email it or post it or tweet at us. Like, don't be shy. Like, I think the other thing too, if you want to make content, you can't be shy.
Yeah.
You have to put your name out there. So, hey, this is Graham Walker from blank, blank, blank. Like, send it back or tweet at us or whatever, but I'd be happy to read it. Or keep sending us emails. Graham Walker, if you're the person sending emails, hey, this is a free space to get your writing heard, ask us questions. I don't know, but Graham, like, I think as Jeremy said, like, do it because you like to do it and then just have fun with it. But I feel like it's weird, like, niche communities, Reddits, I don't know, Discords, like there's spaces where you can, like I'm in a Discord for like, Joshi Wrestling or like Hamtaro or just random things like that. But it's like you can find your groups and type and then, hey, check out my blog or I made a post about this. I mean, same thing if you aren't use Instagram, like any forms of social media, you can repost, share, whatever. Like, but I think like you have to be focusing on like the goal as opposed to like just the following the numbers or whatever. But I wish you luck, Graham, and I don't know, just keep making it because you want to try different stuff out, see what works, see where your passions are. And I think just in the like even me diving into Dead or Alive Extreme 3 this week, it's like chase your curiosity, and then if you genuinely love it, talk about it on any avenue you can. And I don't know, just keep it going. But the fact they're even doing it is already a step above, I feel like most people. Most people have the ideas of like, oh, I should do this, I should do this. Are you doing it? Graham, you're doing it. I'll keep saying the name Graham Walker. So maybe Graham Walker will be writing.
The brand recognition is seeping in. We're Coca-Cola.
You said it so many times now. Yeah.
Graham Walker. No, because a decade ago, I would post my YouTube videos on Destructoid, which is a games journalism site, or it still is, I think. But like Destructoid used to have community blogs. I remember Danny O'Dwyer talking about GameSpot back in the day had a community thing, and Danny would be able to post something and be on the front page. And so I missed that fun of websites, like, of all those. Every website had a forum and things like that. Like I used to spam the Aquabats message boards with stuff and things like that. So I don't know. I do love that type of communities. We have a Discord too. On Noclip, you can jump in. People are talking about different stuff. So even just finding a space to talk with people you vibe with is healthy. But I don't know. I wish you the best. But yeah, it's like, what's the avenue? Is it literally Blogspot? Is it Medium? Is it Tumblr? I think like, I don't know. Eventually we're going to get there because people are using X, Twitter, which I like, but not for long form writing. But it's still, if you're doing anything, post about it on Twitter whatever. No, I'm calling it Twitter. Post it on Twitter and be like, hey, here's a link to this. Because if, the For You page works, if people are searching, I don't know, using Gran Turismo, but that's the community I've been obsessed with the last few months. Then people are searching Gran Turismo. Oh, here's this piece on Gran Turismo. Boom. I don't know. So just keep trying. But yeah, keep your head above water and do it for fun. Don't go, go overboard and who knows, but I don't know.
As long as you're loving it.
Yeah.
I think Frank put it well. Yeah.
I have one more piece of advice that occurred to me while you were saying that. If you are doing long form writing, break it up with images. I cannot stress how much it is like it's like that little pause for the brain when if like looking at a huge wall of text is very intimidating. Looking at chunks of text broken up by pictures of video games is way less intimidating.
I just realized too with social, and like that's such a good point because with social media, I just realized like there's like, I think it's called like boss fight books or whatever. And sometimes people will put out calls like, hey, are you an expert in Destiny? We need someone to write about this thing. And I know it's also even more hard and competitive now that so many websites have laid off journalists and things like that. But I see stuff getting floated where it's like, hey, are you an expert on this game? We're looking for people to write about this. So keep an eye out for those opportunities. It's the same thing with Noclip here. I was on the Patreon. Danny posted a thing saying, hey, there's a role opening up. Is anyone interested? I immediately jumped on it. And thank you again, Danny, and everyone supporting. And same thing with like Jesse. I think we put out a call for, we need a podcast producer. Jesse had been doing stuff on his own. Boom, had all this work built up. So yeah, just, I don't know, follow other journalists, follow other writers, reply to stuff. Hey, that's a good point. Check out my article. Like, I don't know. But
that's huge. The feeling you're having, you're not alone in that feeling, right? And like wanting to have your voice be heard and to find people that want to hear it. And funny enough, the enthusiasts who want to read that stuff turns out are also writing about it. Have that community, build that up. Because if you got 10 friends and like one of you does kind of well, right? And like starts building up that audience and they need help, because they want to do more work, but they don't have the opportunity, that's where you start getting websites. That's where you start getting Giant Bomb, right? That's how you build up individual networks for writing, or just like whatever, it's have that community, not just for networking. Don't do that. That's annoying. But like, make friendships, find people who are interested in the same thing as you, and you'll go places. You'll go where you want to be. I think if we can instill anything, it's do it because you love it, and find people who share similar feelings, and you'll do well. You'll do well. Thanks for sending in that email. That was fun to talk about, and I hope you're the best with your writing and everything you're trying to do there. Thank you, Graham. But yeah, that's the podcast. What a good way to end on. I like that. That's good. Good question. We have a lot of stuff going on in Noclip. We have a lot of stuff that was like 99% done, right? Like now that we've talked about it, I can definitely say the dredge dock, it's right there. It's like, it's almost, you guys just got to shoot the stand-ups, right?
Yeah. It was, Danny was back in town for a very short window between trips, between a work trip and between a workcation trip. So he's a busy man who's working fucking hard. I told him when we did a shoot in that time, another documentary shoot in that time, and we took like an hour for lunch or whatever, and I was like, hey man, just like make sure you're like sleeping and stuff. Just like he's like one of the hardest working dudes I know.
He is.
But yeah, we filmed something very exciting that I'm not allowed to talk about. And yeah, I'm back to work on the secret thing that I am working on. Danny last week said that it was multiplayer map related, so that's all I'll say about it. But it's very cool, and Frank's been helping me out with that, with capturing a bunch of gameplay and shit. So it's I'm super psyched about it. I posted something in the staff chat yesterday that I think is like pretty cool that people are gonna get nuts about. So yeah, it's there's that, and then yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of docs going on right now. It feels like we're kind of like building up we're shaking the soda can, and then it's gonna explode, and docs will pour out into your eyes.
It almost feels like we have enough stockpiled that if in 1 month we wanted to drop a doc a week, we could almost line it up to make that happen.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah, we could. Yeah, I think the rest of this year we're kind of like building up the we're packing the foundation of the what did Guy Fawkes explode, like the courthouse or something? The guy who they based V for Vendetta on. I was going to do a metaphor, but I forgot the historical context. We're putting powder kegs.
Something about the 5th of November. I don't know. The gunpowder treason plot, right?
The 5th of November.
We're putting gunpowder under the... okay, now we're getting on an FBI list. Never
Anonymous.
Mind.
No.
Yeah, we're putting on our anonymous
Google how to make a bomb. Don't do it.
Yeah. But anyway, lots of docs.
Yep. Yeah, lots of stuff going on. And you can support all the stuff, all the documentaries that we're doing, all the podcasts that we're doing, this, Dear Dwyery, other projects. It sounds like we got a lot of game book club stuff we want to do as well. So if you want to support all that stuff, go to patreon.com/noclip. Join the Discord like Frank was talking about. Talk about all your writing. Bring it in there. We have a share channel that you can post all your cool links in. Everyone does it. It's a ton of fun to see what people in the community are working on. Podcasts, videos, games. It's awesome. Great community of people. And you can be a part of it, like I said, at patreon.com/noclip. You can follow all of us on Twitter for our paragraphs of games writing or wrestling. I love seeing Frank's posts and pictures. Like I said, he's one of my favorite accounts to follow on Twitter. You can follow us directly for all of our content at Noclip Video, at Danny O'Dwyer. I'm sure he's going to post more stuff while he's on trips. At Frank Howley, at Jeremy B. Jane. You can follow me at Garascia. It's my last name, Guarascia. That's the podcast for the week. What is the crew up to? Frank, what's your week look like?
I've got to start editing the Yakuza Anime Expo stuff. There's so much footage, but I will have fun with it. And then I saw Maxine last week, which I really liked. And now this week is Longlegs, a new serial killer thriller that is set in like 1993. So it's like the filmmaker specifically wanted to go for a Silence of the Lambs vibe. And apparently Nicolas Cage looks freakish in it. So I'm very excited. So that will be, take my mom out for a good old time to Longlegs.
That's awesome.
That's sweet.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Jeremy, what about you?
I'm going to be, let's see. I'm going to try to
Feeling
get this
better,
documentary.
hopefully?
Yeah, no, I feel like having some coffee and chat with my boys has got me back on my feet a little bit. I don't think I'm like sick. I just feel kind of like, something's not right, but I'm fine.
Right.
I'm not dead. So like I'm still alive, and that's all that matters. So yeah, I'm going to try to get the, that secret documentary, to like rough cut state so that when Danny comes back, he can point a camera at me and I can do the last little bits. And, yeah, I did like 6 billion hours of color grading for different projects over the last couple of weeks, and probably going to do a little bit of that. And Play some more Moon. Oh, the other thing is fucking Miyazaki's most recent film. I mean, it's not recent if you saw it, whatever, in like theaters. It finally came to streaming.
Boy and the Heron?
Yeah. Or
you haven't seen that one yet? Oh, that's it's a movie.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I liked it. And a good animation. I don't know if I like the story. I don't know what happened, but it looked nice.
I will say I really liked it because the film is about a kid.
Wait,
who loses
hold on. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. No,
he loses his marbles. No,
okay.
it's really good. It's really good.
Okay.
No, there's a line in that movie that like really hits hard and hits close to home, especially with everything that's happened in my life the last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was like, wow. Like I had to pause it a lot because it's like this is like heavy. But yeah, I'm excited for Jeremy to watch it. It's it's cool. But yeah, it was very funny thematically where it's like, oh God, this is what. Oh man, all right.
Yeah, that's fucking heavy timing, dude. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Miyazaki's movies have meant a lot to me. I know it's a cliche to be a white boy who loves Miyazaki movies, but whatever.
Unfortunately, they're really good. You can't avoid it.
Listen, I don't make the movies. It's not my fault if they're fucking 10 out of 10. So sorry, everyone.
Do they even make good documentaries? Just the development behind those movies. Development? What? Production of those movies is fun to watch. That guy's he hates people who watch his movies so
Dude,
much.
I've watched every Studio Ghibli documentary. They're so fun. I just love him just being like in the studio and so positive around everyone, and then it cuts to him and he's just like, I think humanity is irredeemable. You're like, Jesus Christ, like what the fuck, dude?
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Next time you see me on the pod, by the way, I will be Mr. Garasha. I will be married. I'll be wearing the ring. Finally, it's over. No one has to hear me talk about it anymore. I get to say my wife next week. My wife. Oh, Jesse Garasha voice, my wife. Whatever. Anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for being on the pod or listening to the pod. You can be on the pod if you want. It's up to you.
Come on.
You can pretend that you're involved in the conversation with us. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Goodbye. This has been episode 184. Bye.